righty, and welcome to another Data and API show. It is so good to have everybody here with us this evening, or morning, or afternoon, or really late at night, because we've got people from all over. I am joined by, should we say, the better half?
Wow. Yeah, I guess starting strong here. Yeah.
That's great. I am noticing my audio is not coming through the correct gear. So give me 1 second to
No problem.
here. I just got it coming in now. I feel like I'm one of those, broadcaster people coming in now.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. It's funny because like way back, before I started streaming and stuff, my business partner, Todd, told me that I needed to have the audio come back through my headphones. And I'm like, that would be terrible. I would never be able to speak if the audio is coming looping back through. He's like, well, you've only ever done it with latency. Have you ever done it without, with just kind of real time? And so we got it all set up. And now I feel like I can't do it without having the monitor on, like hearing myself in my own headphones.
Oh, really? You don't feel quite so alone when you're streaming anyways, It's
kind of like... talking to yourself.
Yeah. For those that are missing a little bit of context, I was invited to join your stream, which is, again, what's the name of the show?
React Native Live.
React Native Live.
Yep.
Guess what the show is about. But I was on your show, and we bonded on Twitter over the brutal approach of intermittent fasting. And I said, hey, why don't we just, because you were complaining or noting that a lot of the existing tools out there for intermittent fasting tracking just don't scratch all of the itches. Like if they're good ones, then they all of a sudden they try to bump you to a paid service right away, or they go other areas that maybe busy devs just aren't like, I don't have time for a yoga retreat every morning. I'm just ready to push the button that I'm ready to fast.
Exactly.
So we started that, and we said, well, let's bring it over to this side, and we kind of do two halves of it, because React Native is a big deal. People know about it. People use it. And so today is that second half where we are going to be talking about taking a finished API and now trying to plug it into. We'd gotten as far as listing content on the page last time. Why don't you just give everybody a quick intro about Infinite Red, your background a little bit, and then we'll just jump right into it.
Absolutely. So I'm Jamon Holmgren. I'm one of the co-founders of Infinite Red, which is all we do is React Native. So we're a React Native consultancy. We focus on anything React Native, whether it's iOS, Android, web as well. So like if we're doing a React web project, it's going to be a React Native web. We do many different platforms, but it's all in React Native, and we've been doing React Native since it came out in 2015, which is also about how old the company is. I have two business partners, Todd Worth and Gant Laborde, and I've been coding myself since I was 12, and I'm 40 now, so that's quite a while. I love coding. I spend any time that I can get an excuse to go code, I do that. But my primary role within the organization is more technical sales and supporting our dev team. So I don't get to like hands-on do coding as much. So streams like this are always fun because we get to do that. And I live in Washington State, Southwest Washington State, near Portland, Oregon. And I with my wife and 4 kids, and I live on a little over 3 acres and have a little tractor I drive around and kind of have fun, pretending to have some land there. So it's kind of fun, but this is what I love to do.
Nothing like a little bit of homesteading to break up the code grind from time to time.
Yep, absolutely. Got to get out there.
Not a friend of mine, a coworker, our head of product, he lives down in that region as well, and he and I geek out about data modeling for a future gardening app, like planning out massive garden beds and stuff. So maybe one day there'll be a synergy where it's all
maybe that'd be awesome.
Homesteading GraphQL is the next conference that just get your calendars ready.
Yeah.
So since the last time we talked, I went ahead this morning and attempted to redo the API that we had done, because we had gone down this whole rabbit trail
Right.
talking about data models for event streams versus traditional relational models.
Yep.
And blew a good amount of time on that discussion.
Yes,
So
we did.
I recorded myself doing it this morning to prove to people. I took less than an hour to do it.
Nice.
So there's a lot of bugs in this API, but it was essentially having an API and roughly what we had gotten done last week. And I thought maybe it'd give us a bit more real data. I tried pumping some fake data into it. There might be bugs in that as well, but we're going to have a quick look. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to run through the schema just to give everybody a quick reminder about what we even were building. So intermittent fasting is a approach to healthy eating, living, if you will, where you essentially have restricted eating windows. You say, okay, I am going to not eat anything, like 0 calories, if you're doing it the right way, for upwards of 16, 18 hours. And it switches the body into this mode where it then starts to do kind of a cellular purge. It has the side effect of actually being pretty effective for weight loss, which is what a lot of people use it for. It has a lot of good, anti-inflammation kind of things. We're not here to talk about a health thing, but we did that on your show actually quite a bit. So if you're interested, go check out that podcast. But we're talking about basically a app that allows users to be able to say, I am starting a fast, I'm ending a fast, and maybe other activities or things that would potentially go around that ecosystem. So that being said, let's have a quick look at the data model that I drew up, because so you kind of have to have a bit of this mental model for the health concept, because there was a couple of things that I built in terms of feature thinking. We're not going to build those out, but they're in terms of feature thinking about things that would have maybe made sense. Obviously, we have a user with some credentials. We have then the actual fast itself, where we have the ability to say when they start, when they stop, the fasting style that they would have chosen. So was this a 16-8 or was this an 18-6 or some other names if you are in the fasting world? Additional things would be potentially the idea of a fasting group. Like if you were doing this as part of a team effort, then we have a join table to be able to track that membership. We have a sunrise and sunset that is actually part of a location or associated with a location enum. That would basically allow the user to be able to identify if they are going to be, is it a sunrise or sundown situation? Because some fasting regimens map to that. And then activity. So when you're doing intermittent fasting, the two things they kind of push a lot is some kind of baseline movement. So like walking usually, and then water intake. They're kind of the two things you need to get the pipes flowing. So, if you will. So drinking a lot of water, because as your body's purging that stuff cellularly, if you're not giving it the escape mechanism, you're condensing all that toxic waste essentially from your body into your liver, which is not what you want from what I've read. I'm not a doctor. But so you want a lot of water to process that out. So anyways, we have this model that kind of would have different things you might track. So water intake, activity, when you were actually fasting. And this scrap thing is something that I've always wanted in an intermittent fasting track. And that is basically a notepad that would have either some kind of like a prayer list or something that you might be able to use as a reference, that there's moments when you need to be able to get your mind off of the fact that you're not eating for another couple hours. And it's like, I'm going to take that time to turn that negative inwards focus into something positive, reviewing affirmations, gratitude lists, whatever it is you would want that to be. And then the idea was there would make a template that could potentially go with that, like to help you choose. So that's, again, feature thinking. This is kind of how you can build in the Hasura way, but we're not going to build out like hardly any of this.
If we can do that, we should start some sort of a rapid consulting thing.
Yeah. So I took this into Hasura, and what I had ultimately done is I taken this. I had done the export where I was able to export this as a Postgres schema. And then I imported that directly into Hasura with a little bit of modification to a couple of fields. And then I used tools like Mockaroo to generate mock data to be able to create that. And then I actually made a really funky little import script here that essentially took all of the users that I'd made, and then it looped over that and generated some sort of randomized start-stop times for roughly 90 days of activity. I haven't actually tested to see if the data really worked. So that brings us, yeah, I'm sure it did too. That brings us up to viewing the actual interface then. So what we have is, and again, I want to just iterate, all of that was actually within about an hour of getting schema set up. So if you look at our data, we have our tables that we're tracking. So we've got, users and information that they would have. We have then the ability for our API to kind of browse around, so we can sort of have a look here and we can check out the user. We'll limit this real quick because I have about 150 users in there. So we'll limit to the first 10 and we'll do a search for fasts, and we're going to grab we're going to limit that by 1 for now, or 1 fast per user. We'll grab the start, the end, fast style, and the name. So we basically have an API that gives us this kind of content. And so we can see, so there's some 18.6 going on. There's different behaviors. Hopefully that math worked out in terms of, I'm trying to do a quick check on it. I have zero confidence that it worked out that great, but we can at least render correct data types, if not correct data structure inside the system. So we have an API, we have a schema, we have everybody explain about the intricacies of intermittent fasting. Shall we switch to React Native land and see what we can do?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's definitely do it. I did get it up and running this morning, so it is working.
Fantastic. All right, why don't you share your screen?
Figure out how I'm gonna do this. Yeah, let's see. Sorry, first time using Restream in this way. I've been on Restreams before, but
there's the share screen in the middle down below.
Perfect. Yeah.
We might even see, I think they even allow for both screens to be shared at the same time. So we can try that, see if it actually allows us to have both. And then I can try to
oh boy. It's telling me I need to restart the browser. Is that a problem? Can I do that? Actually,
are you using Mojave or
latest, whatever that is? But it actually is giving me an option here. So let's see if I can hold on 1 second here. I think I think I can pull this off. Give me a second. All right. So screen 1, I think is right. Nope. Okay. It is going to make me do that. I think I can probably jump back in after I quit Brave. So
yeah, the link will still work. The one I sent you is gonna let you back in.
All right, you're gonna have to keep the audience entertained while I'm gone. I'll be right back.
I can keep talking while you're gone, but as far as entertain is a different question altogether. So we'll have a quick look again at the schema here. So we have some interesting pieces of data that actually tell us jokes. Okay, I got one joke. I did not come up with this. It is still probably one of the best dad jokes I have heard of all time. And that is, why was the bicycle laying over? Because it was too tired, which is just great. Just great. All right. Welcome back, Jamon.
Thank you. I'm making sure I'm on the right audio. I think I'm on the right video.
I hear you fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. All right, let's try this again. Share screen. Go over there.
People in the stream are asking, what are we going to learn today? We are learning about React Native working with GraphQL. All right, so you are live on the screen.
And I do have Reactatron. I've got VS Code. I have my terminal, which we're probably not going to be using all that much, to be honest.
Now, Reactatron, that's one that you actually develop in-house, right?
Yeah. So Reactatron is a Mac, Windows, and Linux app, built-in Electron that allows you to debug and sort of like view state of React Native apps. So, state, for example, I can click in here and sorry, it's a little small. Might be able to make it a little bigger here. And I can drill in and actually see, Rick and Morty here, characters, which is what we currently have. We haven't actually filled out our state. You can take snapshots of your state. You can replay them. You can do custom commands. So you can actually, like I want to, reset the root store, the navigation state. There's other things like that. It's sort of, you can kind of think it as like React Dev tools, but customized for, well, what we use. And a lot of people that use Reactatron swear by it, which is nice. Some swear at it. Some do both.
Now, the custom commands, is that something that you could theoretically, does it take REST requests or what any kind of code or?
Any code. So, and what's cool is it runs actually in the React Native JavaScript engine. So essentially you have like, you could just write in, actually, let's see if I can find the like navigate to, okay, right there. So you can see here that you have Tron, which is our Reactatron thing here on custom command. And you just have this command here. You have a handler. So when it happens, you can actually then navigate to various things. So like in this case, we're actually getting the route from the handler. Where are we right now? And it allows you to navigate to, well, in this case, the route is passed in. So like if I want to type in a route here, and actually what would be is home command? Let's see. No, that's not right. Let me go to the navigator. It doesn't matter, but yeah,
but that's really nice because
like
especially in the context of GraphQL and or with Hasura, you can simulate a lot of behaviors. You could be able to trigger streaming events. You could do all kinds of things that. Yeah, that's pretty
right. And it can be. What's cool about it too is it can be arbitrary code. So instead of console log, I might do alert, right? And let's see, is alert even imported here? I just want to show that off because it might come in handy later when we're doing this. Yeah, alert's there. So now if I go in here and check the custom commands, I broke it. So yeah, okay, we're not going to do that.
But now I also want to just add for the audience from our side watching, this is this was bootstrapped basically in about 10 minutes using the Infinite Red
correct
CLI to set up a tool, and then it just was. And then that was basically everything was ready. There was as far as setting things up, we haven't done really anything other than adding a view.
Yeah, exactly.
That was just part of the traditional stack that
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ignite plays well with, it's our battle tested stack, so it's what we use for projects, and it has essentially it's about 5 years of experience baked into it, and we have big plans for Ignite. So it's constantly evolving, and it's something that we're going to continue to do. What you see here is just the basic stuff, but a lot of what the value that you get from it is really in like the stack that we chose, and then how we set it up and how we initiate things and all that stuff.
Awesome.
Cool.
So we do have
awesome. So we do have this demo list that's pulling in information here. Obviously not doing much here, but I would assume that we're going to need a way to just list out all of our current fasts that are happening, or I guess potentially you do have users, right? So do we need to make sure we're in a particular user?
So we can scope a query based on
Yeah.
an individual user for now. What you would typically do is we would have an authentication flow that would
Right.
be able to bring that in and pass the JWT to Hasura, which would then
Right.
give you access to which permissions that you have.
Right.
We'll just fake it for the moment by
Yeah,
scoping
sure.
a query, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So we have our welcome screen here. When you hit continue, it goes to this this demo screen. And so we have this demo screen here. We could right here kind of replace everything that's in this screen and list out your current fasts, or maybe give you a, or maybe actually we should have a button for start and fast, and then we should have maybe a button for list past fast. That actually makes a lot of sense to me too.
Yeah. I was curious if you actually had a bar chart widget already. We could potentially even do that with the data we have. But that's only if you happen to have a bar chart.
I don't have anything built in. Yeah, we'd have to reach
Okay.
out to a library, and that might be pushing what I can
Pushing.
get done.
Let's
That'd be
start
really
with
cool,
the
though.
starting.
We should do
Yeah,
that.
let's start with the starting and stopping, or let's start with
Okay.
listing a specific scoped user,
Okay.
and then we can have a starting and stopping of the current one,
Yeah,
and
sure.
we can maybe even do some Boolean logic. We'll see if the dates return are actually sensible. If they are sensible,
Yeah.
then we can actually say that these are like how many hours. We could do the math. Say how many
Right.
hours was it fasted.
Let's
yeah.
start with generating a user. And so Ignite comes with generators. So I'm just going to do a user model. I'm generating it. G is generate. So it's kind of patterned after like Rails generators.
We're getting a request to boost font size, just so you know.
Yes. Apologies on that. Let's make sure that actually landed. Did it not land? What did I do wrong?
Are you in the right project?
Am I in the right project is a very good question. Okay, it's not working. That's okay. We can do it manually. So we're gonna create a. So we have our root store here, and we're gonna be creating a user model, or user. Just a. We'll just have like a current user. I'm not gonna like bother with too much here. So current user, and it's gonna be a type. So this is actually MobX state tree, which is
okay. Yep.
Like a it's like a state management system that I actually now am the primary maintainer of.
Oh, really?
So we're gonna have a user model. Yes.
For MobX specifically, or
yes, yeah, for MobX state tree, not MobX itself. MobX state tree is like built on top of MobX. So I'm gonna make this really simple. I'm just gonna do my user store right here, or sorry, user model right here. So types.model, and you'll notice that stores and models are defined the same way, types.model and types.model. So we're gonna let GitHub Copilot tell us this, and then what is your data model here? Let me see here.
Like when you're wondering what the response is, or
yeah. So and actually, I'm starting to think that maybe it makes more sense not to use MobX state tree for this. We certainly
there's that gen tool, right? There MobX has that
it does have a generator
from
yeah.
GraphQL.
I feel like it's probably going a little outside of the you know what? Let's stay with UState for now. I'm actually going to make that call. Let's do that.
Do it.
I'd love to show this off because there's a lot of really cool integrations that can happen with this. But everybody understands UState, so it'd be better to just kind of go that direction, I think.
All right, yeah. So, we'll have to do another show. We'll have to do another one then about.
I know, right? And integrate with that. That would be awesome. Yeah. So I guess first off, we need to pull in. So let me go to the demo screen is the one we're on right now, right here. So we're going to need to pull in the user. And so this is a situation, and we actually do have Urkel, which is being used in the demo list screen. And let me go over there just to kind of show what's happening there. We have a query right there, and we are pulling in a user right now. And so on the demo screen, I'm going to go ahead and just drop that in for now.
Now this is from the old API, so we'll need to update to the.
We'll need to update it. Yep.
New one. Yeah.
Yep. Now, so let's see. You can help me with this. we probably want to pull in one specific user.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want the ID, or do we want to just query by something else?
Let's just grab the ID for now. I'll
Okay.
throw a user at you. I'm going to just look one up. I'll see if I can swap the screens. I'm not sure if how that actually works, but that's all 4 that are up now.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how this works. Okay. Well, I'm just going to paste you an ID here. So I'm going to go to my users, and I will go to the IDs here. I was trying to see if there was one that would potentially be in the Pacific time zone, which may work better in terms of where the
showing
database
actual
is seated.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So that, because when I
While
manipulated
you're
the
doing
date
that,
time zones, there's a higher chance of it working.
absolutely. While you're doing that, I'm going to grab this code right here, just so we have this data here. So, all right. Don't need this. Get rid of a few things here. So as you can see, if you're not used to React Native, it looks a lot like React, right? And obviously there are some differences. We're using views instead of divs and whatnot. These are all components. Everything's a component. Let's see, we have the title, we have the tagline. We can kind of pull all of this out. I'm probably going to leave that button there because we're going to be using that to kind of start and stop things. So this button is actually internationalized. So this demo Reactatron thing, if I demo Reactatron, we'll see that it is in our en.json. So I can actually come in here and change, from Reactatron, this is going to be, it's going to be like a start stop right here. Actually, it'll be, we'll start with start fast. Start fast. And we're going to need an end fast as well. So I might as well just do that right now. Okay. So come back here and just going to do that for now. And this should be start fast. And then if I refresh, I've got an extra curly somewhere, or I missed something somewhere. Let's see.
While you're looking for that, I mean, this built-in localization, when the pandemic started, there was a COVID tracking app that the German government had released, and somebody had asked about releasing a localization for Turkish, I think, or something like that nature. And the agency came back with an estimate just to add localization to the application. This was literally like scan a QR code kind of localization. They were pitched somewhere a little over $500,000. And I was like, I could literally start a company in that country and hire somebody full-time to translate for less money than this agency was estimating just to update the button localizations.
Localization is really interesting. In fact, I did a stream recently with Mazen Chami, who works at Infinite Red, about translating or doing an Ignite app with right to left, because he speaks Arabic. And so we actually moved an app over to Arabic, which was really, really fun. And that's a whole nother topic there. It's more than it's more than just replacing, words. Like the whole app more or less flips. Okay, so we got that. Now we have some stuff breaking over there, but it's because we're sort of in flight here. So cool.
Sure.
And it looks like you sent me that ID, so I'm going to grab that.
Do you have the new API?
I do not. We should definitely do that. So let's see here. Our use query is, there's Urkel. Where did we set that up? I'm trying to remember.
Probably wherever your provider is at, I'm guessing. I think I just
there's
saw
our
a
provider
flash of it.
Yeah, so this is the provider.
And then the client.
And that is coming in from, let's see, and the client is right up there. Oh, right here. Okay, so I'm going to need a new one.
So our new one, the URL, it's basically that same URL, except you're going to replace everything after everything before the Hasura app,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to replace with Interstoi.
Enter. Yep.
INTERSTOI.
Like
It's
that.
yeah, it's like an intermittent fasting stoicism portmanteau.
Okay. All right. Cool. And then if I go back here,
Then
now
you'll
go
need
ahead.
you'll need a header for that, for the permissions on there.
Oh, I will.
Unless
Okay.
I go ahead and open up the permissions for at least listing the user information, which would be, I'll do that. I'll go ahead
Okay.
and enable permissions real
Normally you
quick.
would do a header here
You'd put a
of some
header and
sort.
you'd put in your secret of some kind. So
Oh, I see.
when you're
Okay.
doing a React, when you're doing a React Native app, what kind of context or what kind of access to secrets do you typically have inside of a React Native application?
So what's interesting about that is there's no such thing as a secret in a mobile app at all. Mobile apps are not able to have secrets, more or less. And there's no way to do it. You can certainly hide things from stream, so like I could put something into a .env and load it. I could put it into a JavaScript file, but no matter what you do, that's going to get packaged into your into your JavaScript bundle and shipped to the client, which is your app. And that is trivially easy to deconstruct. So that is something that people should keep in mind. You can't do that. How do you get around that? You have authentication. You would use Hasura's authentication, and then that would establish the secure connection to your database. So, so that is kind of the reality. But we could throw something into .env. I could pull it off of my, this monitor, drop it into a .env, and pull it in.
Let's do that just for
Okay.
for sake of
Perfect.
this application. Obviously, this
Yeah.
is not how you would do it, because you'd also be using a scoped
Right.
a scoped API would ideally be the
Absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that will be kind of shortened for this broadcast.
So I've
here,
dropped you the secret, and then we'll be able to use that for full control.
Perfect. I will have, let's see here. What I'm going to be doing is dropping in, that secret is going to be, I'm just going to call it.
The mapping that we'll be using, or what it's referred to is, it's the X Hasura admin secret. It's an X header.
Hasura,
so you can give it whatever title you want.
You said admin secret?
Admin secret, yeah. And that's all hyphenated in terms of the header that we need to pass with it.
And then I need to make sure I move it from here, and that's the .env. Wait a minute.
In the next few months, next month we're going to be having Clerk Dev, which does a really interesting auth library for simple authentication for React Native as well. So that'll be a pretty cool one.
I just have to create a env.dev.js here, and then module.exports, and then I just have to drop that in, and then that will be pulled in as needed, and then I simply need to import it from env, which I forget how to do that. Sorry, I'm doing all this stuff off screen.
It's all good. All good.
And make sure that I get this right.
I'm curious in the chat. So how many of you have actually used React Native before in daily projects for people in the stream? Well, that's some.
I actually had one of my developers told me, "I'm really glad that you're taking Hasura seriously." I'm like, I didn't not take it seriously, but he's a huge fan of Hasura. He uses it for all kinds of stuff. So that's pretty fun.
That's a great time to pitch. The HasuraCon is coming up here soon. It will be, I need to look at the dates. I want to say it's end of June. Let's see, HasuraCon. It's end of June, but I'm having to look at what the date of it actually is, but I don't pull it up in front of me. But anyways, if you watch our channel, we'll be broadcasting the sign up page here very soon. So people who are curious or interested in the Hasura world, that's a great conference to get all caught up.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. See if it's gonna. I'm not used to doing this like this, so I'm fumbling a little bit. My bad on that. I'll be there.
What the show is all about. It's all about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think through the approach that I would take to bootstrap a fast JWT for this. I'm just not sure what tools I would use to generate the JWT without actually having a library set up.
Yeah. I used for JWT, I used JWT Simple recently. And it actually worked pretty well.
JWT Simple. Yeah, it's a library though, yeah. I was trying to think if there was an actual tool that would allow me to just kind of manually paste in the data.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, there are websites that allow us to do that. Let's see here. Sorry, I'll pull this open here. Actually, I had Expo Go crash on me. That's not happened quite a while.
I've got one here. I'll just start messing around with this a little bit and see if I can get it to.
And timeline. Perfect. Okay, I got debugging information right here. So I know that I can now do config dot, and then I just have to pull the name of it, which was Hasura admin secret. And I don't want to log it. Okay. I believe we are very, very close here. I am going to pull this back here and ensure that I do not have that open. And yeah, okay, we're back. Okay, this secret now is containing what we want it to. So
nice.
That took a little longer than I expected, but but I got it.
All right. So what? So we're back up to now having when you pass a header to that request.
So I believe, headers. I don't know if this is a thing on create client. Headers is not part of it. Okay, so I need to look up for Urkel create client. So Urkel create client headers. Let's just see what we get here.
I'm wondering how close I'm going to get to actually having a realistic AWT. We can also just pass it.
Fetch options. And then there's headers. And now we can do, and is it literally what it's saying right here?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
And it already put secret in there. Hey, isn't GitHub Copilot awesome? it guessed all of that. That's pretty awesome.
Posted their secret into the.
Cool.
Great. Yeah, that's what we wanted.
All right, awesome. And then let's see if it works. The question is, did it work? So I'll have to go back to our welcome screen here. Come back down to, no, I was on the demo screen, my bad. Demo screen. And we have our query here that we've requested. And I'm actually really curious to know, did we get, so let's console tron log that. I actually like to do log important because then allows us to watch here, and did we get something? And yeah, we did get an ID, and we got a user. So we got data.
Fantastic. All right. So from there, we can try to maybe just iterate. We have the location of the user, and we have their username. Now, because we're using a fully authenticated request, like super mode,
Yeah.
where we can actually even just drill down onto that person's fasts right away.
Right.
So we could
That's true.
get their name, so we can drop down on and grab their name. Yeah, very nice. And
it's already suggesting fasts right
actually,
now.
that's it's interesting. So Urkel, you're using TypeScript, right? So Urkel is introspecting the endpoint, and it's actually letting you do the. It's
I
letting
think this
you
is
browse.
Copilot.
No,
This is GitHub Copilot.
It's got to be already looking, because there's no way somebody else has that.
I don't know. That was actually a Copilot thing, though. It actually was. Let's see here. If I hover over it, yep. Accept, open GitHub Copilot. That's what it is. GitHub Copilot is ridiculous, and
but like, okay, but the seal, yeah,
this is where it might be because we had the other
previously.
One. It's probably okay. Yeah, it's going off of this.
Okay, so
it's going off the old one.
Yep. We have now start,
okay,
and end.
Mm-hmm.
And we will probably want to grab the fast type.
Okay.
Fast style.
Fast underscore.
Maybe it's type or it's style. I have to check what I have it there. Fast style. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll drill down on fast style and grab the name.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. You did that before. So
and we can sort those fasts by created at, or by start and then ascending. And so we kind of get a.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's 95 items for this birdie weigh in. So
yeah.
What did you say now? Sorry.
So up at the very top fasts field.
Yes.
We'll do parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do exactly this right there. And except for instead of start time, we'll do start, and then we'll do ascending. So ASC.
Okay.
I believe that's. I'm always wrong with Postgres dates. If that means oldest first or oldest last.
That's probably oldest first, if I had to guess. So let's start 2057. Okay.
So it seems like my dates are a bit funky.
Yeah, so let's start with the oldest one first, which is in 2057. He's getting a head start.
Yeah, maybe I'm curious where that went wrong, because the data I inserted, it definitely did not resemble that. But
yeah,
there you go.
You know what we could do? We could transform this and just minus.
Oh, fascinating! It
35 years.
Yeah, that's actually really fascinating. I'm going to throw you a different ID.
Okay, sure.
Of a user. So I think I incremented. Somehow I managed to increment the year. When I was incrementing over the. I'm not quite sure how that actually managed to work. But anyways, I'm going to give you a different ID to use, and I think this will have more realistic. Nice. Dates. That's funny.
And then see, for whatever reason, whoa, we're going to go sideways here, I guess. Upside down, to the side. All right, there we go. For whatever reason, my fast refresh isn't working, so I have to manually refresh.
Oh, isn't that great?
Here we go. Yeah. And we are now at 2021. Okay, so yeah, and it does look like it's the older ones first. Do we want to go descending then?
Then we'd go descending, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And we're going to refresh. And there it is. Grange. And the latest one was 2022 on the 23rd to the 24th. So yeah, okay.
Sounds believable, yeah.
Oh, and fast style, we do actually have a name, 16.8.
All right. So we have realistic data, so we can kind of determine how we want to present this data now onto the page. If we want to have the fasts in a table and be able to then create a mutation to be able to to create a new fast.
Yep. So right now we have the start fast button. We also have the demo list. We can change that demo list to be, list fasts, or we could show it all on the screen too. Demo list might be easier just so that we can just kind of move along and not have to create any more components and stuff like that. So I just say list fasts. And that should, yeah, there it is. Cool. And then our demo list screen will then be our, show the fasts. And we will actually pass in to that. We will pass in the, let's see here. Let's navigate a param list. Okay. I'm just going to pass in the user. So I'm gonna go any here. Whoops, no, it'd be this one. All right, yeah. We're just gonna go any here so that we don't get those issues. Duplicate. What do we have, another user here? Oh, right there. Okay, so I don't need that. All right. And then we will need to pass in the user just as this. Just user like that. Cannot find variable user. What did I do wrong? Params undefined. I think I need to go to the app navigator, and where we have the demo list, I'm going to have to go user undefined. So this is just how you notate parameters that go in when you're clicking through. So I can't find variable user. Let's see, where's that demo list user? So it's closer. We're very close.
So what's the issue that it's pulling up?
Right now it's saying we don't have a variable user, which is true. We don't have that. I need to actually assign this to a user. So say const user equals data user right there. And then now we can actually pass that through to the next screen. So if I refresh and click list passed, cannot find variable our query. We don't need a query right now. So what's happening here is essentially we have some artifacts from the last time we worked on this. And so I'm just getting rid of some of that stuff. So I don't need that. I'm passing it in. The demo list is just getting all the information from its parent. Past events, undefined user.fasts. So we did not get fasts back from the user. I'm just gonna make sure.
Let's have a look at the do we see the data that came back from the request?
Okay, it's working good. Yes, let me go there right here. And then it does have fasts. So it's kind of interesting. It's saying that we didn't get fasts back, even though we have fasts here. So we're going to figure out what didn't get connected up here. So now that we're back to kind of a state where it's less broken, we do have fasts. The user is there. We have the user. We're logging important, which is where you get this kind of like bright debug thing going on here. And it has an ID, a name, and fasts. However, when I went to the demo list screen and I logged this, that does not seem to be working. So it's telling me that I don't have
so the user is not getting, the whole object's maybe not getting passed forward.
Something like that, yeah. So if I click list past events, undefined is not an object, evaluating user.fasts. So we need to figure out what came through. If I look at the debug, we are getting undefined for user here. So this is not passing through. I think it's because I need to not use that. I think I need to go navigation.get, or is it just param? Get param user. So const user equals that. So I'm going to, whoops, hit that. I always hit Command R to refresh instead of just R, because it used to be Command R. It's not get param.
That's the worst when they change tools.
Yeah. Command R is now record. Thank you.
Yeah. That makes a lot more sense because I record so much more than I refresh the page.
So true. Let's see here. I'm just doing a quick.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the name, and I don't have TypeScript here because I negated it with the any. Let's see. What is it?
Where did you put the any?
I just stuck it up here. So if I were to put it back in, don't remember exactly what it was. It was stack. Yeah, actually, I can do it right here. Navigation dot set params, but how do I get the params?
And that's just the default navigator from React Native, right?
It's not default. It's the one that comes in through React Navigation. So you have to add React Navigation, and there's a few different ones out there. Is it route? Route.params. Okay, that's what I was missing. I was missing route.params. So if I go back to my demo list screen, and then here, what I'm doing is I'm passing a navigation, right? But I'm going to also pass in a route, and then it's going to be route.params, I believe. And I'm going to verify that by going here and doing the same thing. So route, and then I can say route.params, and then I could do the user thing. Okay, yeah, I think that's essentially what we needed to do. So the route that gets passed in, and yeah, this is through React Navigation, is an object that then has a params thing. So I think I'd actually need square bracket. It's not a function. This is going really smoothly. There we go. So we are getting data back. And as you can see now, the second one's coming through, which means we're getting the fasts from the user. So,
all right.
So I just had it wrong. You have to pass in the route, and then the route.params gives you the user. And how we're passing that through is when we are doing the navigation. Right here, we simply pass it an object, and that object then goes into the route.params. Normally, we wouldn't do it this way. Normally, what we would probably do is set it in our, like, before we navigate, we would probably set our global state to be like, okay, what's our current user, right? And I started to do that earlier, and then I was like, let's not do that because it's kind of getting into other stuff. This just makes it easier. It's sort of like, this is like passing in to a component. You would be passing in like user equals user.
Okay.
More or less.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
So it's just saying like pass this payload along with with the route push, essentially.
Exactly. Yep. And then you access that through that route. So route.params. So we got it.
All right. Should we try putting a button on that page to be able to like start a fast and end a fast?
Sure. We have this one here, and so we could do that, and we would have that as sort of like an active fast. So this on press right here is for that. And we can trigger something now. So
yeah. The question would be, what would be the best pattern here? So is there a success handler with Urkel that would allow us to say update a local state on success? Or should we set up like a subscription, which might be a bit more effort than we have the time for, to be able to use Hasura subscriptions to consume like changes to the fast?
Let's take a look at the Urkel documentation, because I think you're right. Like
the
mutation. Okay, perfect. So let's see if I can mutation component. Use mutation is what we're looking for. Accepts a single query argument of type string, returns a tuple. And we have, so we're going to need the query there. Do they have an example of it?
What's the tuple that it returns?
It's result and execute mutation.
Okay, so the execute mutation is the actual action to call it, and the result would be what's coming back. And be curious if they
Object,
actually, yeah.
it checks if it's being, and then you can also get the operation result from use. Okay, right here. Here's another. So here, okay, here we go. Update to do, and it has like the use mutation, and then you can do kind of like this. Okay, then you can get the result back. So okay, let's do that. Let's use mutation. So use query came in right here, and we're going to add use mutation, and then we're going to have this tool. So it's we're gonna use a mutation, but we're gonna pass in the start fast mutation, which is going to be here. And this is where we would then create that mutation.
Yeah, so this is good. So the UUID is the one that we'll be passing in from our current user scope.
Okay.
And then the actual mutation we have itself would be insert fast.
Insert underscore fast.
Yeah, this whole thing is actually pretty much correct. And then we can be returning the ID and maybe even the start. And then we need to close up that query. We don't need the end because we don't have an end.
Yeah.
But
so this UUID here needs to be hard coded. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move this into our component.
Well, it's you pass that in with a variable. And the use mutation most certainly has the option for passing in a variable. I can see there on that code sample down below, if you scroll down, there was an example there.
Oh, there's the variables here.
Variables.
Oh, you're right. Update takes the variable, and then you would just, okay, that's really interesting. So this UUID we would then pass in.
Right.
So when we use mutation, when we do the, it's not update to
when we
do,
call when we call the start fast, that function usually takes the variable payload.
Got it. And then we have what is this though? The result. So I guess start fast.
That's going to be the response of the data. Now that would be what you'd probably want to set in your local state to determine show up to update the UI. If you're not using a subscription, if you're using a subscription, it looks like Urkel would have, you could just pass in the Hasura subscriptions and see the current status.
So yeah, that makes sense to me. So the start fast is going to be happening here in this on press. And we're going to be doing start fast. And now we pass in the ID, and it's giving us an ID here. That isn't the same one, is it?
Knowing that it's supposed to, I'm not sure if that's the same ID that
it is actually. That is. I just compared it. Okay. All right.
Kind of creepy, but
it's a little creepy. Then we do a then. And we could make this an async here. And then just say const result equals await. So now we're starting that fast, and then we should get back the variable. Or so I could probably log this out.
Yeah, so that would be where if you're awaiting the actual response, then that would be where you would probably update your state then after. So you could have something like passing in that state to a component that would say
exactly
we've started the fast.
Okay. Now if I click start fast,
like an error.
Like expected name found. Parenthesis. What did I do wrong?
So we're inserting fast. We have the objects ID start now.
It says expected name found parenthesis, and that would have been. It's not being helpful in terms of where.
Can we see the mutation the query for the mutation?
Yeah, we could just log that out.
So mutations start fast. I just want to see the actual.
Oh, you just want to see how I define it? Okay, yeah. That's right here.
So mutations start fast, the ID. So what we can do is we can copy this, and I sent you an invitation to the cloud project. And we can actually just test it inside of the API Explorer.
Let me figure out where my email is. And invited to collaborate. Join that one. I'm doing this off screen.
Sure. There shouldn't really be anything sensitive.
I can do this. Okay, cool. So, all right. And
so if you just launch the console there.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, right there.
And then go to the API Explorer. Oh, sure, you're already there. So just paste in your mutation here, and we'll see if it complains about what we are trying.
That's pretty cool. So you can just drop that in. Oh, I grabbed the wrong thing. Let's grab the whole thing. That's pretty cool.
So there is an error. It's not liking the word now.
Okay.
Which technically should be accepted.
Okay.
But what we can do is we can abstract that out to a variable. So up where we have ID.
Yeah.
And we'll just do we'll do another comma there. So we have like a list of variables. We'll do the start, and then we'll do colon, and then we're going to do, I think it's stored as string, but we'll do timestamps, I think. Well, what we can do is we can check the documentation to see what it actually expects. So if you go where there's insert fast, the actual mutations statement on the over in the actual API browser, line 6.
Okay.
You hover over the insert fast there on line 6, and you hold the command key over insert fast.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean, let's see here. Hold command.
It might not be working at the moment. Usually, it's because we have an invalid query at the moment. If you put in the variable and start, then it should actually start to let us put in the variable for start there. The actual the dollar.
Oh yeah.
Start. Yeah.
Timestamp TZ.
Timestamps. Yeah. For the.
Okay, and then now if I, it's doing multiple. It's
not working, but it used to. Yeah, it used to do the where you can actually click on that and it would show you the documentation. Otherwise, you can also expand the docs. Yeah, if you expand the docs on the right side, there's a little docs sidebar.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then you do a search there just for the insert fast.
Okay.
And then you grab that top one off the mutation root. Yeah. And you can go down to the objects input that we're looking at.
Right.
And we can see that the start is supposed to be, so it's expecting the timestamps.
Okay, perfect.
Which is ISO 8601.
So now, that's what we're expecting here.
Yeah, cool. Typically when it's insert objects, it'll take just a flat object. It's technically an array input, but it usually accepts just a flat object too. So we'll have a look to see if it's
interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
So we'll take that, and then we have to pass in the current date and to ISO string. I think is the format we have to do.
So we're gonna replace that,
and then down where our variables are.
Then we need to actually pass that into, let's see, right here. This needs to be.
So additionally, we need not just that, but we need the start, which is going to be then the new date, and then probably the to.iso string.
Okay, cool.
I think that's an accepted date format. but we can have
Gotcha.
a look.
So it didn't crash. We got back null value in user ID of relation fast violates non-null constraint. So the fast
We didn't pass in the ID somehow.
apparently not. So we would then need to give it
Because
a user
I know
ID
why.
here, right?
I know why. It's because it's it's user ID. Not ID, it's user ID. We're passing in the
It's just user ID.
it's user ID because we're passing in that part. The ID is automatically generated when we insert it. So
Yeah. I mean, we're
Yeah.
returning that. Yeah. Okay. So when I hit start, now what did we get back? We did get an error, non-null fast style ID now. So it's a different error. That's
also needs the fast style that we're doing for the fast. So we can pass
yes.
in. I can give you an ID for that too if I go
Okay.
to the data tab real quick, or you can also grab it too, but I can snag it here real quick from
And what?
fast styles. We will have the person do a 18-hour because that's how real people do it. Here's the ID.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because the body goes into autophagy between 16 and 18 hours. So if you're using 16 hours as your upper bound, there's a good chance that you're not getting the full benefits. That is your PSA for intermittent fasting.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. I have too many log importance here. It's getting to be too much. So I'm going to comment out that. Comment out that. They can't all be important. All right, let's try this
Is there
again.
like a somewhat important log error? A slightly more muted red?
Right? So here it is. Now it's actually returning an item.
Yeah.
Nice. So that would be under data, insert fast, returning, and then it gives an array of what it did, and these are, and there it is. That's cool.
Yeah, returning being the affected Postgres row.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah. So if I go to list past fast, it actually showed two of them because I clicked it twice. Neither of which have an end date. So they are showing up in the list as well.
It works.
Yeah, it does work. It's interesting, Jesse, and like obviously we're sort of we're running low on time here, but like I can see how this is coming together. Like the sort of the workflow, I guess, is the big thing.
Yeah.
Like how do you go about building both the back end of it as well as the front end of it, and they're very kind of mutually, supporting. Like I'm building this query. I can drop it into GraphQL. I don't know, what do you say there? GraphQL.
I always say graphical, but
graphical. There you go. Yeah, graphical. And see how it reacts. You've got all your documentation there. You got all your information. It's great. And then when you come in here, it should behave the same way as long as you have authentication set up right. And yeah.
With the MobX GraphQL plugin, what then becomes really powerful is that you're able to generate your like hooks and things like that from queries you've written. So you write a query in graphical, you save it as a document with your React project or React Native project, and then you actually get strong typings directly from that. So the whole kind of playing around, testing it out, and writing queries by hand is doable. But the real magic becomes, because we have roughly our data model in place and it's kind of working, and it catches things like saying, hey, you're missing, the fast ID or things like that for you when you write that mutation directly inside of the tooling. And so what's really great is you're able to evolve your API with something like Hasura. And then what we would do in the future, if we were making this an actual product, you would create a login and a sign up or whatever functions that would generate JWT tokens and things, and expose those through connectors here inside of the Hasura API. And now suddenly I've enabled the login functionality through my Hasura API to all of my clients that are using that, whether it be my React Native app for my admins,
Yep.
or whether it be my backend office tooling or whatever else.
Right.
And so that's where you're able to evolve things at different paces. And it's a
Totally.
really powerful flow to work that way. Yeah.
I totally see that. It's amazing. And like, I guess, like, the backend developers don't have to guess what the front end developers need. There's the communication tool is the types and everything. You're specifying what you need. You're specifying what kind of mutations need to happen. And then, you can kind of conform to that. I really think that's cool. I really think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and if you need to lock it down, there's functionality like allow lists where you can take these queries that are written and generate like an approved list, and the backenders can always see, or the data admins can always see, here are the mutation operations that are even allowed from our system. And you can essentially approve or deny different operations or have metrics.
Right.
You can see under the monitoring tab up there as well, in the top right corner. It's probably going to be pretty crazy because of the work that I've done. You see that there at the very top?
Let's see.
Oh, you closed your window. It's my window
so
now.
It's yours now. Yep.
We have the monitoring tab here where you're able to kind of see, the behavior. You're able to see the different services. You can see which queries came through.
Nice.
So we had this start fast mutation. We can kind of see,
that's cool,
like the different data and details that you want to be able to expose.
Right.
You can see what the role was. All the kind of stuff you would expect to be able to track down. And so this is where being able to centralize this and say, okay, these were the queries from the mobile client, these were the queries from the desktop client, these were the queries from wherever else. It's a very good workflow to be able to work quickly. And
that's awesome.
We are over, so I want to respect your time. And I'm sure everybody's bit of brain overload, getting a good dose of GraphQL, Hasura, Urkel, and React Native all in one.
Oh man,
and the CLI. So it's not even just React Native, but it's also like your tooling around it.
Ignite,
which looks fantastic. So definitely check it out for people.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if we had all day, like, integrating with Mobix, State Tree, doing some of that, like you said, the integration with MST GQL would be really cool, or even trying some other options out there for GraphQL clients. I mean, there's a lot of really cool clients. Urkel looks pretty cool. I haven't used it very much myself, so I'm kind of like learning as I go here. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff here. All the tooling and stuff. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, GraphQL's tooling is just amazing. Yeah.
All right. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and hang up this stream for now. I appreciate everybody for coming out today. That was a lot of fun. Thanks again to Jamon for being able to kind of show us what. Is it Jamon or Jamon? What's
It's Jamon. Yeah, just like Jason, just like you would say Jason, but with an M. Yep.
Okay. So really appreciate that. And we will see everybody else again next week at the same time for the show, and have a great rest of your day.